You want to talk about important? This is the ute that could push Kia to its highest ever position on Australia's sales charts. In fact, if it sells in the numbers they think it's going to sell, it could make Kia the second biggest brand in the country. And now that the dust has begun to settle on the Tasman's global unveiling, and now that we've had a chance to get a bit more used to its somewhat controversial exterior design, it's high time we got up close and personal with the Tasman to see how likely those lofty sales targets really are. So if you are holding off buying a new ute, stick around while we figure out if the Tasman is worth waiting for.
First things first, the engine. Now we know that utes can be all about the bragging rights when it comes to power, but the Tasman, well, it won't be playing that game. Under the bonnet, there's a 2.2 litre diesel that produces 154 kilowatts and 441 newton meters, paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. There's also a petrol version available overseas, but we're not getting it. Now that is less torque than the Ranger, Hilux and D-Max, but Kia says it's the way the Tasman drives that counts, saying that the torque curve and the clever gearbox ensures that it feels every bit as powerful as its rivals when it matters. Still, that does feel like a little bit of explaining an owner might have to do at a barbecue. Still, the Tasman will tow 3.5 tonnes braked and carry more than a tonne. The Tasman's tray is 1,512 millimetres long, 1,572 millimetres wide, or 1,186 millimetres between the wheels, and 540 millimetres deep. And that, says Kia, gives you a cargo capacity of almost 1,200 litres, and it's both Aussie and Euro pallet approved. In short, the brand had promised us a 1-tonne ute that can tow, and it's delivered on that promise.
So yes, the front end has come in for a little bit of criticism, but for mine, it's not just the styling, but the fact that some of it just feels and looks a little plasticky. But Kia says the Tasman is all about industrial design rather than vehicle styling, and by that they mean it's function over form, and everything is here for a reason. So to that end, you'll find the 2 hooks underneath, but if you join me this way, you'll find that these really oversized fenders actually serve a second purpose, namely a bit of extra storage. So this one at the back here opens and gives you a perfect little space to put like wet swimsuits or ocky straps, things like that. The one on the other side, by the way, is where you pump the diesel in. And if you'll join me right around the back, you'll find some real practicality perks as well. So this roller cover, it's an official accessory, and I really love the sleek nature of the buttons here. There's steps for easy access, which is great as well. And if you open at the rear, you'll find a really nice sized bed. And inside, there's a little household power point, which is perfect for like charging tools on site, things like that. But also all these tie down points are fully adjustable as well. So there are some real practicality wins back here.
In terms of trim levels, we can expect 5. The first 3 levels are yet to be named, but the top 2 are expected to stick with the international X-Line and X-Pro names. There's a single cab chassis, double cab chassis and double pickup body style option as well. We've only climbed inside the top spec X-Pro so far, and I've got to say the cabin feel is on point. That starts with the 3-screen layout, combining a 12.3-inch infotainment screen, a 12.3-inch driver information screen, and a 5-inch climate control screen right in the middle of the 2 bigger ones. There's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, of course, along with an optional Harman Kardon stereo. There's also a bit of an environmental bent. Think bioplastic, synthetic leather, and carpets made from recycled plastic.
For mine, the real highlight of the Tasman experience occurs right here in the cabin. I really, really like this space. It feels really premium and modern and a bit like one of Kia's latest EV flagships, what with the twin screen setup and all of the tech. But it also has some kind of rugged edges in keeping with its ute heritage, like these lever door handles that I really like, the rough edges on some of this switchgear, and the fact that there is actual switches rather than having to dig through the menu all the time to access the car's key functions. So practicality, this little thing slides forward, giving you a nice little table if you should need it. Otherwise, you can pull it back and get to your cup holders and your dual wireless charging pads. There's double storage in the glove box as well, and it all just feels really nicely put together.
Kia openly says the Tasman is the most Australian vehicle it has ever produced, referring to the level of involvement Kia here had in the vehicle's development, which I guess is understandable given we are expected to be the biggest market on the planet for the brand's first ute. To that end, Kia says the Tasman underwent some 1,777 tests, conducted over 18,000 rounds of evaluation, covering everything from tarmac and towing to off-road and water wading. And there are some clever engineering tricks at play too. For example, the air intake is positioned inside the fender, which Kia says unlocks an 800mm wading depth at speeds of up to 7 km an hour. Now there are pre-configured terrain modes, and the X-Pro adds a dedicated rock mode, fine-tuning the traction system for mountainous terrain, and it joins the standard sand, mud and snow modes. The Kia Tasman will launch in Australia around June 2025, and in terms of pricing, look, it's guesswork at the moment, but we would be shocked if the Tasman didn't attempt to undercut its rivals, even if only by a little bit, to grab some market share.
The Tasman has been a long time coming for Kia, and it'll do big things for the brand here. But it's also true that the dual cab market never sits still for long. The BYD Shark 6, it's arrived, a new Hilux is just around the corner, and Ford is about to plug in the ever popular Ranger. In short, the Tasman enters the hottest of hot ute markets in Australia. So has it done enough to stake a claim? Well, that, my friends, will be up to you, and we'll know when it arrives in June next year. To stay up to date with all things Tasman and to read about all of its rivals, check out carsguide.com.au.